Hey everybody, in this video I want to show you about the host function. If you've not seen the host function or even know where it is, under application there's this little chevron or arrow here, and if you drop it down it has host. And so what host is, it gives you a bunch of information about the host that you're currently on, and or a little bit of information about the server itself. Let's go ahead and look at this here. We'll just type in host and do the dot. And you see we got browser agent, OS type, session, tenant, version, and then offline enabled. And so before I click on this, I just want you to show on the screen below where it says Mozilla 5.0, Windows NT 10.0, Win64, blah, blah, blah. That's the browser user agent. The OS type is Windows, so that's below. The session ID, that's this particular session. The tenant ID is the tenant that this whole entire application is logged into, and you can see a lot of this sometimes up in the URL. So you can, find this. So for example, let's see here, we got edit app ID, we got the app ID, Microsoft Power App. Of course, this is URL encoded, so you get these weird %2 things. So it's not always 100% clear, but nonetheless, this is the tenant ID, the session ID. We got the host version, and then I said that we would just go ahead and select the last one for whether or not offline is in fact enabled, so which can be done. So all of these can be used in different use cases. I have used this before, very limitedly, but I have used it, and I typically use it when I have an application that I need to spend a little extra time and polish by using a lot of good error handling controls. A lot of times we'll do stuff at work and we just need to get it done. And there's no time to do what I call do it right or do a full version of it. They just want it down and dirty. And if there's a bug here and there, it's okay. They're acceptable with that. But if you try to drag it out by doing the right thing, you're going to potentially double the amount of time of the estimate to do all the try, test, use cases, throw in Test Studio into the mix and things of that nature. So anyway, long story short, if you get into these scenarios where you do have time to do it right or do a full application, and you're going to start creating logs or your own logging, a lot of times the information that's in the host is going to be helpful, especially the session ID, the tenant ID. I've not really found a good use for this, although there is a good use for it every once in a while. Mainly though, when you're in the Power App Studio, which is what you're seeing here, not necessarily in the player to play it, although they are kind of hand in hand. There's certain features that are available or preview features that get rolled out, and sometimes bugs do happen or issues happen when you move it from an ALM situation where you're in a development environment, then a UAT or a QA test environment, and then moving to prod. Prod being, production, you don't usually want to monkey with that too much. So development tends to have newer versions more often than, say, the production area. And that's when this one can be very helpful to say, oh yes, it's using an older or legacy version in prod. It worked just fine in QA and other testing environments, but as soon as we moved it to prod, everything just broke. And so that might be the reason why. The other thing you can do is look at, is there a problem maybe with a browser? Not so much the case anymore, at least in my experience, but still could be. And maybe there's some browser defect or browser issue that you're trying or feature that you're using, and it's, creating a problem on Safari, and it's not creating a problem on Chrome or Edge, for example, or probably the least used, but it still is used here and there. Opera is another browser, right? So, and I'm sure there's a plethora of other ones that I didn't call out, so don't yell at me. So, in any event, the entirety of this video is really just about that. I don't really have much more to use for this, but this is what it is. This is how you might consider using it, and some of the use cases that I've seen personally, and hopefully this helps you in deciding whether or not to use it. All right, thanks a lot. Have a great one, and we'll talk to you in the next video. Bye-bye.